Welcome to Will It Work? I'm Kevin. Today we're going to look at the JVC XI, the multi-entertainment system. Now, I don't know too much about this other than the fact that it is a Sega Genesis / Sega CD clone. I do not believe there's anything special about it. I think it was officially licensed by JVC to make a combo unit, and they sold it. And from what I understand, at the time it was kind of expensive, probably didn't sell very well, but you can find these every so often online. One thing I think is kind of interesting about this system, and it's not really about the system itself, but it's about how you classify this in terms of game system, okay? Because we all know that, like, if you go and you bought a Nintendo, Super Nintendo clone system off of the internet today, right, you would call that a clone system. It's either going to be emulating the hardware somehow, or it's going to have, the real hardware in it, which is rare, or some sort of FPGA, new packaging of the old hardware, so it's not running an emulator. It is a sort of a virtual hardware, so it's very accurate with some variations and things. So, but you would still call those clone systems, right? But this, you would say, okay, well, this isn't the first party Sega Genesis, right? Or Sega CD, so it's a clone. But it's an officially licensed system, and it probably has the right hardware and the original hardware in here, either off-the-shelf parts that Sega used, or the specs of, or the original hardware, right? And so I think it's since it's an officially licensed system that came out at the same time with the approval of Sega, that it is a mainline console and not a clone. It is an actual, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, just rebranded. Say it's a rebranded system. And you might say, well, no, it should always be the manufacturer's main system. That's going to be the main unit, right? And everything else otherwise might be a clone. So you might classify this as a clone, but you wouldn't say a Sega Genesis is a clone, because that was made by Sega. Well, I understand that argument. But the problem I have with that argument is that if you're the 3DO company, right, when we look back on the 3DO, they never made their own game system. All they did was license it out. So are all the 3DOs, like the Gold Star 3DO and the Panasonic 3DO and the Sanyo 3DO, are those all clones? Clones of what? They're all licensed. They're all just officially licensed, and they're mainline systems. So I think the JVC XI is not a clone. I think we classify this as being an actual mainline system that, runs Sega Genesis, Sega CD. It's not the parent company one, but it is an official system. Anyway, one way or the other, we have to find out if this one works. I've had it for a very long time, but I've never used it. And I think it's in working order, but we're going to find out. So it does come with a JVC branded control pad, just the 3-button version instead of the 6. D-pad on the left, start button here is, whoo, that was stiff. So we'll have to see how that works. While it looks kind of black here, if you look closely, you can see that it's sort of a blue, dark blue, almost violet color, and the system is also of that color. And if you were to probably get this new or cleaned up really nice, it would probably have a much nicer blue finish on it, which makes it look a lot more quality. I have a number of funny games that we can look at this. We eventually are going to look at some other Genesis stuff, including the Genesis from Sega. But I figured we'd start here because I don't actually own a Sega CD to go with my Sega Genesis. The reason for that is I have the JVC XI. I also have a laser active, and with the Sega module in it. And we'll talk about both of that one and this one. And at one time I did have a Sega CD, and I may get one again, but the asking price for Sega CD is ridiculous online, considering most of them don't work, and they're not, there's nothing great about Sega CD in general. It's just not a good format. But I think there are some 32X games that might use CD. I'm going to have to look at that. And so it's kind of like, if you want to support the 32X all the way around, you probably need to have the Sega CD. So I'll probably get one by the time we look at that. And I would argue that Genesis is a standalone system. Sega CD with the Genesis, while it is an expansion of the Genesis, because it has its own games, right? And because they sold it as a unit together, and because it also adds graphical, I think it adds like an additional 32 colors, so it's like 64 colors or 65, something like that. I think like there's maybe one color that's like one of those weird like translucent or something, so it's like 65 or whatever, but maybe not. And so it has that and the video modes, but because there's separate games for it, I feel like it's basically another system, right? I wouldn't say it's another console, but I would say like with the Genesis and the CD, Sega CD, that's a different system. But I would list it as a separate console in my list. And then if you add the 32X, that is also a different system because it has different games. Just because it's powered by the Genesis, etc. The games only work on that system. So, it's a little bit weird. I always debate certain things. Like, I've shown a lot of the different DS systems that are out, and not all of them are that much different, although I've tried to show what the differences are in terms of the hardware. And I listed each one of those as separate consoles. Where when we looked at, say, like the Atari Lynx, I had the Atari Lynx 1 and the Atari Lynx 2, and I just didn't feel like there was enough difference between, hardware-wise, between Lynx 2 and Lynx 1, so I didn't set them apart as different consoles, right? We looked at different models of Intellivision. I didn't put those up as different consoles, because basically they play the same games. Lynx plays the same games, but so does the DS, although with the DS, there's a little bit of variation there. I've always talked about, like the DSi has the internet option, and then you get into like the camera, right? There's certain titles that'll only work with the camera, so it's a different system, right? Because it plays different games, because it needs that hardware. But this is the thing about collecting, what you count and what you don't count seems to be a lot of personal decision. Everybody has their own rules about it, etc. I try to be logical about mine and kind of look at it from the system perspective, as well as, are they radically different enough that they're going to sort of stand out. Like if you looked at the 3DS itself, it is the 3D system. And if I said to you, well, what about the 3DS XL, which we haven't looked at yet, but we will, you might say, well, that's just a larger version of the 3DS, right? The 3DS has the small screen, the 3DS XL has the larger screen, so you would say, so they're not different systems, right? One is just like a bigger screen version of the other ones. It's the same system. However, 3DS XL actually has that analog control nub in the top right, which the original 3DS does not have. So there are games that can only be played on the 3DS XL, and probably later edition 3DS probably added that nub. I'm not sure about that, but probably. That would only work on that format. So I would argue with you that 3DS XL, since it plays exclusive games for it, is a different system, separate console. So that's just my, the way I kind of look at things, and just kind of touching on that here, since we were talking about the JVC XI being a mainline system, console, but some things I just feel like they're not, or they're not quite there. And sometimes maybe I could be argued back into it. So if I ever had to compare my list of consoles to somebody else's list of consoles, if they had like a Cybeco in there and they counted it, you know, or if they counted like Lynx 1 and Lynx 2 as two separate systems, in terms of how many they have that are unique, you know, I would have to go back and refresh my counts up in order to see, like, you know, how mine compare to that list. It just sort of depends on it. But I doubt too many people have as many Pong systems as I do as part of their console collection. So I definitely think I probably have, in terms of being a private collector, the largest unique console collection in the world. But if there is somebody else out there that has one that's bigger, I've never seen it, and I don't think they have all the videos for it. But you never know. Maybe one day they will. So, we have a game here, Yazzie, which is a late release. Came out, I don't know, 2020. 2020 for Sega Genesis cartridge. So we're going to try that in the cartridge slot. And then in terms of games, I've got some funny ones here. I have the ones that people always bring up in conversation. So I have the Night Trap. And then I have Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. And Crisscross. So these are the funny full motion video ones that they're not good. None of them are good. In fact, I don't even think the Marky Mark one was ever open. It looks like it's still sealed. It's just crushed. So maybe we won't play that one, which I'm sure nobody will cry about. Do I have actual other Sega CD games that are good? Yes. And we'll look at those when we look at the other systems. But for this, I thought we would just break out a couple of funny ones and kind of just look at the way the... I don't know why I would even care if this is... like, is this going to be a collectible one day? Doubt it. But kind of funny. I'll leave it, because I don't like to open things that aren't open. But we do have the Crisscross, the Night Trap. So we'll check those out. And we'll try out the cartridge game. And I also have hockey, in case we have any problems with the cartridge. I have NHL 95 by EA Sports. And we'll pop that in to see if that works as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook everything up. I'm going to switch us over to the video side. And we'll see what we get. And if it doesn't work, or we just don't get anything out of it, we'll come back here and we'll talk about what might be wrong with it. All right, thanks. Here we go. Alright, so here we are with the JVC XI. Looks like it's going to work. I've got the game in here from Mega Cat. Yazzie. Came out in 2020. We'll take a quick look at it. Okay, none of my buttons are working. The control's working. Oh, maybe I have to press start. You would think an A button would work, but most people want you to hit start when you want to hit the start button. Entering the mansion. Yeah, sometimes, like, I always appreciate that people make these, what the hell just happened? Okay, pressing B seems to kill me or reset the game, so let's not hit B. It's like kind of like a load runner thing. I appreciate that people make games like this, although I don't know how hard it is. Like, making video games is harder than you think. I just don't know, like, you know, there's like kits out there to make things, and I don't know if Genesis type stuff is easy to make because there's kits out there, or if you know, somebody had to like write a bunch of assembly code to make this work. You know what I'm saying? Because there's like a lot of those RPGs out there, and the RPGs are built with some sort of RPG maker, right? And I won't take away from the fact that like there's a lot of people that are working really hard on those to make those work, but it's kind of like is there a way? How do I get back up? Oh, I killed myself. I see why I killed myself, because you get stuck. But how am I supposed to get past that? I guess I can go up the ladder. So you know, I just think it's a little less work when you don't have to do all of the actual programming and you're just working on the content, you know, content creation versus programming. They're both difficult, and they, you know, and they both deserve a lot of credit for doing whatever they're doing. But I just, you know, it's like, is this really hard to do? Probably. 16-bit era stuff. It's kind of like Mario Maker, right? Like the original Mario is obviously a feat of great engineering to make it work properly. Now, how does this work? And then it's kind of like, well, all right, that's enough of Mappy. But then they had, you know, Mario Man, and then you could make your own game. And it's not like, you know, you could make really cool levels and everything, and make a pretty awesome Mario game. But you know, you didn't program Mario, so I don't know, just different. So cartridge part of this works great. Controller works great. System runs fine. It's not running hot. Makes no noise. Let's go ahead and try the Sega CD games out. But before I put in one, let's just turn the power on and see if we get any kind of a logo or anything off this thing. Yeah, see in the top right, we've got JVC Sega 1993 version 2. So again, it's got the Sega logo on it. I feel like it's an official system. It's a mainline system. I wouldn't call this a clone. And let's try Night Trap first. You know, this was kind of funny back, like if you're an older person, because you know, it starred the girl from Different Strokes, which was a popular TV show of the 1980s, and she had, like, her career had kind of died after Different Strokes had ended. And, you know, like when these full motion video things came out, a lot of people went to like be actors and things and said, hey, do you want to come and work on, you know, in this game with your acting skills or whatever? And it was kind of a novel thing. You would see these sort of old celebrities appear in these games, and she came along, but she, you know, she had struggled with drugs apparently, and had, you know, just gotten into a bad way out of Hollywood and stuff. And I think she either overdosed or she killed herself. You know, it's kind of a sad thing, but, you know, between like Different Strokes and, you know, I think she was on like Howard Stern or something for a little while, or, you know, as a guest or something. She had, she made this game. And I was just looking for her real name on here. If you told it to me, like, I would instantly like be like, yeah, that's her. But it's just not even listed. It's not listed in the manual. It's not listed in the game. So anyway, let's put the game in. Maybe it'll say starring right in the beginning and be like, yeah, her. It's 2 discs. Let's see if our laser pickups work. Look at that. It went into a game versus music mode. So that's kind of interesting. Well, we want to play the game. Now, I don't know if the regular Sega CD ever did that. It's very quiet. I don't hear anything churning away. But it looks like it's working fine, which is a surprise. These CD, you know, these belts and things in these CDs, I have been very lucky. Everything I have tried so far in this series that deals with a CD has worked. Things that haven't been turned on in over 30 years have been absolutely fine. It's crazy. Now, this Night Trap came out on a bunch of different formats, some better than others. You know, the Sega CD is probably one of the worst, simply in terms of the graphic. You know, it only displays like 64 colors. We've talked about this. You know, 32 to 64 simultaneous colors. Now, I'm not sure about the video stream. It might be more than that on the video stream, but you can still see that the video is very grainy and graphical looking, and that's part of the reason why is that the colors can't shade into each other to make it look better. So you get this sort of this grainy look about it. And if you play this on, like, say, the 3DO, which it came out for, or maybe the CDI, it would be a lot, more full color, full screen, etc. And I'm not sure if it came out on PC. I don't think I've ever seen it on the PC, but it might be. I've just never seen it. I imagine it would be in, 24-bit color at that point and look perfectly fine. Yeah, this is almost like a Five Nights at Freddy's before there was a Five Nights at Freddy's. You kind of control the camera and look around at different rooms and to see where these people are coming in, and because there's this slumber party going on, and they're going to come in and kidnap or kill the girls at the slumber party, and so you have to sort of monitor the rooms and set traps off. I think maybe at the right time. He's sort of explaining it, and I'm not listening to him, but it's sort of at the right time, and then that will, keep them from getting at the girls or something. And it's one of those things, I imagine, if you play it a few times, you get the pattern down, and that's it.
If anyone disconnects it, you lose control for good. This is my attack squad. And this is Kelly, one of my best undercover agents. She'll be arriving with the rest of the girls. I'm putting her life and the lives of those other girls in your hands, so don't even think messing up. If you don't have the brains or the guts for this assignment, give the controls to someone who does.
Yeah, because if you don't have the guts, you got to give the control away to somebody that's got the guts.
You're wasting time. Get over there now.
So it looks like it's working halfway decent, which is nice to see. I have no complaints about the XI here. It's pretty solid. I don't think this could be used with a 32X, though. I don't know what the whole deal is with a 32X in terms of compatibility. Maybe it can be. I don't know. I mean, I know, like, if you have, like, the Genesis 2, which is just a remodeled of the original Genesis, you can plug in the 32X at the top, and it works fine. But if you wanted to use it with the original Genesis, I think you had to do something. Like, you had to connect something else somewhere. Maybe it's power, maybe it's a ribbon cable, I don't know what it is, but something else had to be added or something. There it is, Dana Plato. That's her name. It's a hard name to remember. Dana Plato. She sadly overdosed or took her own life or something. It was years after this, but I think everybody was kind of rooting for her, you know what I mean? She seemed like a very nice person, but you know how it is. Some childhood actors, they just get into drugs and they just they can't get away from them. And she was just lumped into that group of people. All right, so are we? I'm sorry. Did we? I'm hitting start now. It seems like this guy's just going to repeat. I thought he was taking me somewhere. I'm sorry. Yeah, so you're checking every room. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's. So you're trying to see what's going on in each one. See, and then there's this guy. And then you have to do something, like you have to activate a trap somehow. See, now you got to figure out which room did he just go in? The living room? Yeah. I'm not sure what that means. Access. If you can change this color, green, like to red maybe. But now it's empty, so you can change it back to like let's do this. Let's pause it. Let's look at the menu for a second here. SCAD examination revealed that the traps are protected by an access code with 6 color variations. The Martins can change the access code at will. The traps can only be operated when the correct access code is enabled at the control unit. Yesterday's SCAT operatives, successfully completed assignment number 229, codenamed Trickwire. The Martin family was absent. Agents secretly spliced an override cable into the trap and camera control system. The cable terminates in a control panel located in the back hallway of the house. The override system allows you, as our internal SCAT operative, to hide yourself in the house and remotely control the camera and trap units. How do we do that? At this moment, 5 more house guests, all unattached, beautiful females between the ages of 16 and 19, are on their way to the winery estate at the Martins' invitation. Scat has been able to position Kelly Med, one of our best undercover agents within the group. The Martin family includes Mrs. Override Control Panel. You must alert to change in the access code color. You must immediately enter the new code into the override system in order to maintain control over the traps. Certain evidence indicates that unidentified persons or things may also be entering the house. Take your position at the override. Change the access code as needed to maintain control over the traps. Well, I can see the different color, but how do I know what I'm supposed to change it to? Capture anyone or anything that may endanger the guests. Do not trap the women. Discover what happened to the first set of house guests. Apprehend all perpetrators. Activating the override control. Set up your Genesis and Sega CD system and plug in a controller. Turn on your blah, blah, blah. Press start or button when you see the Sega CD. Let's see. Press A to activate the override controls. Press button A, B, or C to begin your SCAT assignment. Pay attention to your briefing. B triggers a trap. A switches the display to the highlighted camera view. So B is the trap. C changes the color of the access code. Operating procedures. Switch surveillance views to keep tabs on the households. Listen to conversations. The access code is blue when the mission begins. Other possible code colors are red, green, yellow, orange, and purple. Eavesdrop to find out when the new code is changing. Oh my god, we're not doing all that shit. Alright, fuck that. But you get the idea. If you want to play this game, it's not expensive. You can find Night Trap everywhere for just about every format. It's out there. You can play it. I'm not going to. You can. Alright, let's power this off. Let's look at Crisscross and then we'll wrap it up. I'm a little happy though that this is all working in terms of the system. Because, JVC XI, it's fairly expensive to get one now, and it's a little bit more rare than the Genesis and Sega CD obviously is. And you get one that's original controller, original power supply, even have the original RF unit, although I don't need it because this has a composite out. It's still nice that it works 100%, all original. Crisscross. You guys remember this song, Jump, Jump? These 2 kids. I think one of those kids died from an overdose, or I don't know, maybe he died from a heart attack or something. I have no idea. He was an adult when he died. He didn't die as a kid, but they're kids here. Wear their clothes backwards or whatever. That was their whole shtick. Song was really popular. It's one of the highest grossing songs ever sold or something like that. I mean, I don't know if it's in the top 10, but I think it's in the top 20. It's ridiculous. Digital Pictures. Make my video. Crisscross. I don't know how many they had of these. There's the Marky Mark one and this one. There's probably a couple other ones.
It's the Make My Video Show, starring the top of hip-hop, the Pac-Man who ain't no wax man, Boyd Packer.
I'm just hitting start.
Welcome to Make My Video, America's only call-in video show. This is Don Pardo, and now the star of our show, the Boyd in the Hood, Boyd Packer.
Hey, yeah. What up? This is Boyd Packer, and welcome to Make My Video. Got my video editor out there, hooked up and chilling in the control room awaiting your scenario for the miggity Mac Daddy and the diggity Daddy Mac Crisscross. The hotline is smoking.
This is what video games had come to in the 90s. Choose a caller. And then we've got 3 songs. Kind of remember that I missed a bus song. I don't know, warm it up. Let's just pick Jerome. I don't know.
Who this?
Hey, Boyd Packer. What up, man?
Son? Well, who's that? Wait, you got your crew back there or something?
Yeah. This here Jerome, and we want to ask you. You related to that Woody
Watch out there now. You gonna do this or what, you little Coca-Cola sucking, undersized nigga poker chump? You wanna end up like Ballhead here? What's the song, boo?
Hey, check this. Crisscross at the boys and jump is the noise. I wanna see cars bounce.
What is the point of this? I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing here at all. That's probably the thing with most of these FMV games. No clue what you're even supposed to do. I think you're like supposed to make the video with different clips or something. Let's just look at this here. Wow. All right. Just terrible. But that was to be expected. I'm actually surprised at how awful it was. But yeah, you got to listen to the Jump Jump song, and I've probably played it so long that it's going to get a copyright tag on it, and you'll probably end up seeing like commercials or something on this video. I don't monetize, unlike the rest of YouTube, but you know, if somebody else does because they snatch the copyright infringement tag, then what you gonna do? They own the rights. So I just popped in NHL 95 just to see if it works. It's not doing anything. It's not working. I put this terrible crisscross game away. I imagine Marky Mark is exactly like it. Let's hit reset. Seed it. Maybe you know, I guess it's possible that. There we go. That one says it's used under license by Sega, which is interesting because I know that these yellow tab cartridges historically have been they got around copyright. Licensed by Sega, it says. So I doubt they were lying about that. Really, you're gonna let me see? You're gonna force me to sit through all the legal? That's ridiculous. Oh man, 16-bit sports games. Remember these things? How's the puck? Oh my goodness. I don't even know who I am. Okay, I'm the yellow guys. I mean, I know who the Rangers are, but I just wasn't sure which character I was. Yep. All right, so that works. All right, so that's JVCXI. Thanks for watching. We'll look at some more Genesis stuff down the road here. We just wanted to kind of have a little bit of fun with this one, but it's a nice little system. It works. So it's a keeper. Thanks for watching.